Business thrive where societies thrive.
What is your sharing or advices for the women now wanting to getting ahead of their career?
I tell women, you need to make the decision. You have to make the choice of companies and leaders who you feel can be your co-partners in life performance. But in any case, I'm not even arguing now the business case for doing sustainability work. I just feel that it's something that is natural, must do, learn to do it, do it.
Hello and welcome to the Quốc Show podcast. This is Quốc, your host, and it's my extreme pleasure to welcome to my show today a very special guest, Miss Claire Chiang, the co-founder of Banyan Tree Hotels and Resorts, which is a global world-class hotel and resort brand with 62 hotels around the world, over 27 countries. And their focus is on sustainability since the beginning. I'd love to talk to you about that topic today. Welcome to Vietnam. Thank you so much for coming here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
How was your trip to Vietnam so far?
Been really exciting. I mean, this is my first long trip after COVID.
Okay.
So it is so exciting. My gosh, I didn't know it's such a busy city. People don't sleep, even right up to midnight. There were cars and motorcyclists and shops opening and can find something to eat. And food is just wonderful.
I believe so.
It has been really joyous.
Yeah. So Banyan Tree has a hotel in Vietnam, in Hue City.
In Da Nang. In Da Nang.
Da
We
Nang.
have both a Banyan Tree as well as an Angsana.
Yeah.
And we are looking forward to having more in Vietnam because I truly believe in tourism in Vietnam going to be very special.
Sure. But tell me about, I want to hear your story when everything was getting started from the beginning, almost 30 years ago. How did you get started with Banyan Tree?
We are two really incidental entrepreneurs, put it that way. I was an academic teaching in Singapore University and in Hong Kong University. And I married a journalist working in Far Eastern Economic Review based in Hong Kong. So we are both students of economics and sociology. And we're both very interested in development and always asking the question, development for what purpose? By whom? For whom? And how do society, business, governments work together to create value? So for economists like him and a sociologist like me, we ask questions such as these when we travel. And we both love travel. And we used to take trains and take buses to go from places to places to understand what is the joy in travel. Is there a business proposition in traveling? We found it. And we found that it is truly a platform for cross-cultural exchange. It is a platform where people of the world gather and you can influence. It's a platform for harmonizing perspectives, thoughts, ideas of different people. So it is diversity and inclusiveness all at a working platform. But that is theoretical.
Yeah.
And really what actually happened was due to family circumstances, we had to come back to Singapore. And it was urban, small. Singapore is a lovely city-state, but it was not the way it was when we were in Hong Kong. We were actually on an island. So we wanted to look for a place where we can actually fly out on Friday and have a wonderful weekend and come back. And we chanced on Phuket, on this beautiful piece of land with casuarina forest, the beautiful crimson sunset, and the long beaches. We got the piece of land without knowing that it was an abandoned tin mine
Oh, really?
that nobody wanted.
Okay.
And what we thought was beautiful water was actually toxic due to the tin mining activities. So in a way, when you're not business trained and you're not a graduate of business administration, it's a good thing. And sometimes ignorance is bliss. We were both passionate about travel, and we were, enamored by that beautiful crimson sunset. And we said, well, let's plant a house of our own here so that I can fly over the weekend.
Yeah.
Then I said, it's a little bit selfish to enjoy this all on our own. What shall we do next? So the idea of having a home away from a home and an idea of having a place of repose and finding a weekend sanctuary emerged. And from there, that idea developed into a hut, but I didn't get my hut or my house. Then we asked, what do people want? People in my generation who are baby boomers, born in the 50s, what do we want? We want to travel. We want to discover. We want to also discover ourselves besides the foreign land. So we've got into the travel perspective. And then we talked about having a hotel, because hotel can give a lot more rooms to many people in just one house for myself.
Yeah.
That's the idea. Then we ask, how do we build a hotel? What do we do in hospitality? You're talking to both academics and a journalist. So we found the best hotel chain then in Thailand to first manage our hotel. And then we learned. And then it was only then in 1994 that we had our own brand, the Banyan Tree. So it was the transformation from zero to something, an abandoned tin mine to now an integrated resort, which we call Laguna in Phuket, in Bantao Bay. That for me was the testimony of a successful sustainability story. Because it's from nothing to something.
Yes.
It is from no settlement to now a thriving, living community where people work, play, and live. So it is interface with business, residences, small entrepreneurs, larger companies. It's every time we go there, I looked at it and I said, this is where all the time of the 30 years have gone to create. It was a tremendous sense of satisfaction.
What's the journey? I mean, nowadays people talk a lot about sustainability, sustainable development, sustainable tourism. But almost 30 years ago, what did you have in mind in terms of sustainability? Because you said you focused on sustainability from the get-go, from the beginning.
We never used the word called CSR, corporate social responsibility. We did not use the word UN 17 goals until much later. We didn't go in to think that we are going to be champions for good practices in this manner. But because we are children of the 50s, I went through the nation-building years. And in Singapore, it was the economy of scarcity. And we learned about prudence, we learned about scarcity, we learned about good governance, we learned about values, about either way, safe water or electricity, etc. So conservation, protection, and development are so much a part of our upbringing that sustainability at its core principles are really embedded in our psyche as nation builders. And as children, the baby boomers generation.
Okay, just natural.
It's a natural process. It's something that is right to do, something we should do, something we love to do and we learn to do. Because, I did come from a rich family. And Singapore was, I grew up in a 1 million people Singapore. We didn't have anything, no resources. So we all learned about how to create value. So the same thing, like abandoned tin mine, was the best testimony of the sustainability narrative. It was abandoned. It was soil that was leached, and we converted it through scientific method. We learned how to recover and rehabilitate it. So in a way, there is always the opportunity of creating value to something. And by creating value, the wealth might come. But that creating value part is so much a ethical mission that was embedded in both of us in the way we operate, we develop, we plan, and we design. It is so much a part of the founder's legacy is because I think we are the baby boomer generation. So it was only after we started the hotel business that we learned bit by bit through conferences with the UN Global Compact that what sustainability is all about. And now I'm still learning about climate governance, looking at decarbonization, looking at water, electricity, waste, supply chain, and to put in all the necessary protocols to ensure that we get to the net zero emissions at 2050. So we are part of the whole solution to saving the planet, so-called, because there's no planet B. But we are really at kindergarten level of still learning the new ways, new equipments, new ways of equipping the hotel, new ways of practices to make sure that we don't waste too water, or how we save and be efficient in the use of the utilities and in recycling, and in choosing the vendors, so that we created a supply chain of vendors who are conscientized in the same manner as we do by committing to climate governance principles.
Right.
So it's a journey. It's a long learning journey, but it's a meaningful and purposeful one. And I think it's a leadership call. It has to be a leadership call that we say we want to do it. And then you learn how you do it. Sometimes it's very simple. It's just that if I use X units of kilowatt this year, next year I minus 5%. Find all the ways you can do that, minimize the use of energy without compromising the comfort of the guests.
Yeah.
Without undermining your performance. So it's sometimes just that, without having to go through all these huge consultation hours with experts about how to go about climate governance. If we can all, as leaders, pass on to our management the KPIs in terms of water, electricity, supply chain, and waste, and each of us do a little bit better than last year, over time, the zillions of companies taking on this as their responsibility will help the whole climate governance agenda.
Sure. How about the public? How do you communicate the messages to the public about the real positive impact of sustainability without the risk of greenwashing or overselling?
When people look at your company's year report, year on year, and we've done this for 30 years, we are probably the first hospitality company that produced a separate sustainability report the last 16 years. And we did it because we feel we wanted to share it, to document it for ourselves. That consistency of effort, the commitment to measures, small and medium, in all the places we operate, show to the world that we do what we think is the right thing to do. And we did so many things without talking about them. But it is felt at the local community for the transformation that happened.
Yeah.
And guests who visited the hotels are invited to be part of those activities, whether it's cleaning the beach together, building a school, painting an orphanage, or going to tell a story to school children. We organize a lot more activities of community engagement, so that guests will feel that they're also part of the contribution to community stakeholder building. So it is through all these bits and of work that we engage our guests, and they write about it through their own Facebook, etc., about what it meant for them in their travel, that they had the opportunity to be part of the community. Then the word spread, and then they know that we are here because we want to. Nothing to do with PR, because a lot of them we didn't write about it. Nothing to do with greenwashing, because we set up a fund.
Okay.
a Green Imperative Fund that later became the Banyan Tree Global Foundation because I wanted to be a donation that's independent of the business. Whether the business is good or doing bad, that fund is an independent fund audited by separately, used by KPMG. And we spend the fund only to the locale and to projects we feel are aligned with sustainability challenges. So that fund, we attempted the use of solar energy. We help build schools. We give scholarships. And now, for example, we are working with China Protection Foundation to look at the rehabilitation of the clownfish in Hainan and in the oceans. And then we're also adopting a nationwide water project, drinking water project for schools, so that children will have clean water to drink. So if you look at our sustainability reports, and we have all of them on the website for the guests to share, they will see that at each locale, we do eco-mapping of what it needs. Therefore, it's different in every property. And then the guests who visited it will then have a chance to engage in those unique experiences with our sustainability champions. So it is through what I call travel engagement and travelers' participation and some of our stories that people write, and then guests themselves write about them in their own Facebook. That word goes on, and that's how maybe we are known for our sustainability effort.
From your experience doing this for almost 30 years, do you have a rough estimate of the return on investment, which is the sustainability investment impacting your business result or profit?
But remember this wise saying, success is never final, failure is also never fatal.
It's great to know. So whenever you have an expansion or you open a new places, you open a new resort and hotel, you're going for this construction of the new place. What are some of the factors that give you concern about the environment? I mean, the amount of water you take, the amount of tree and plant.
You look at the way we build.
How do you build
instead
a new
of
place?
cutting down the trees and making the flat land, and then you master plan and then you build. It's easy, right? So you go to some of our projects, we are on the cliff, we protect the trees which we feel belong to the primary forest. We will protect it, we build around it. The secondary ones, then we can take it off and then we build on it, but we restore by planting trees elsewhere.
Okay.
So we have planted to date more than 520,000 trees globally in our resorts. So when we take away, we restore. But we only take away what we think are fast growth trees, and then we replant them somewhere else to harmonize our carbon footprint. Of course, we look at the material that we use. We use local material.
Okay.
We change a lot of our life. But we must remember we started 30 years ago when all these issues about, electricity and water facilities are all really still at its infancy. We are learning now. We are retrofitting some of them now. But our new build, we will definitely address more of that building guidelines aligned with the sustainability requirement. Yes.
Yeah. And
I don't see this as just straight costs, because by doing that, we have a long-term investment in terms of the operational efficiency. So short-term, you might think that, it's a bit more expensive to put in this equipment, and you have to teach people how to do it. You have to get consultants to study it. True. But in a longer view, in the terms of the ROI, you might feel that you're using less electricity, less water. So overall, it is a good investment.
Yeah.
But in any case, I'm not even arguing now the business case for doing sustainability work. I just feel that it's something that is natural, must do, learn to do it, do it.
So for now, what is your expansion strategy? How about Southeast Asia and especially Vietnam?
This week, being here in Vietnam, excited my imagination. The conference I was in, ASEAN Bridge, organized by Harvey, PNJ, and the government, was a what I call multi-partisan platform of exchange of ideas on sustainability, and in also reflecting that convictions that we must do something now. With that mindset, and I'm talking to various women entrepreneurs and the businesses, there is a willingness to transform. There's an eagerness to change, to make changes, but more important, that growth mindset to learn new things, want new things. And then the foundation values of resilience, courage, diligence, and all that. So you are definitely, for me, the rising tiger that we need to be part of. Crossing your road is a frightening experience.
You get used to that.
Oh my God.
I
absolutely was not used to it. But then I realized in crossing the road is a philosophical experience, okay? Someone told me you must not stop. Continue to walk. Because because when they come to you, they will navigate around you. It's all about being present, being confident, continue forward looking. No back and forth. They will give and take, and then you will get across. That's so much where you are going in Vietnam. So that eager mindset, that growth mindset, that resilience, we are going to be here. And we're hoping to sign up more agreements.
Give me
here.
Some more details. For now, you have Laguna in Da Nang.
We are in Laguna, and we have Angsana and Banyan Tree in Da Nang.
Da Nang, right. And then
we are
what
looking
else?
at Ho
What's
Tram.
more?
Ho Tram.
Place.
We are going to have an Angsana. And then we are going to be at an island of Halong Bay, Quan Lan.
Sounds good.
Yep. And we will have more because we've got multiple brands now. We have got Angsana, Banyan Tree, Cassia, Dawa, Escape, Folio, Garia, and then Home. We have A to H brands, which we can therefore tackle the markets with. So there'll be very different products, and we hope to see all of them in Vietnam, north to south. My dream is Dalat, Hayang, Sapa, more in Ho Chi Minh City, more in Hue. Yes.
All the wonderful places.
Yes.
The thing is, in Vietnam, the concept of sustainability and sustainable development just come recently. And how does that create it challenging for you when you try to apply the standardized model of Banyan Tree from over the world to Vietnam as a location in Da Nang, for example? The team, the motivation for people, the behaviors.
Because it's our DNA, and it's something we started off with, because seeing this as a good and natural thing to do, we therefore have a protocol about who we use to equip our rooms with, what material. We have principles of operation and building guidelines and standards of the equipment that we use and who we buy from. So we set it and we sell that to the developer and influence them to buy these standards. And we will also do our diligence to search in the market, not always the most expensive, but people who believe and who are able to give developers as well a reasonable cost. So there is definitely a tension on the developer side, on the owner side, and on the planner side on cost efficiency and climate governance outcome.
Yeah.
Because it's so much easier not to bother with climate governance principles. But because you believe in it, and now when there's regulatory guidelines that you must do it, people have to sit up and say, what shall I do? What is best for the business? You can't, right now, I think the biggest challenge is some of the inventory in equipping a hotel with all those so-called ISO aligned for climate governance can be expensive. And the consultation fees can also be quite huge. So can small, medium enterprises do that? Are owners willing to do it? So I'm looking forward to this information being shared by the government to the enterprises so that they will cut down on consultations in order to know how to do better. So we need a directory of who is who, what they're selling, to know where to buy them from. And there will be also the motivation for these companies to do R&D, to find out, to create more value climate governance equipment so that we can then use them. So the whole marketplace has to change. Not only the government's leadership value has to be fixed, has to be firm, and has to be supportive. The marketplace has to change, that people are ready to invest and do R&D work to come up with new things to help the consumers. So the developers and the owners and the enterprises have to also change in terms of their mindset and their behavior to choose those equipment that are green.
Yep.
So it is the whole supply chain from policy to execution that requires a revamping so that we can all support each other to achieve cost efficiency and performance outcome. Is work. And I think we are still at a very low level of learning because of the new scientific discovery about new equipments, the way we chill, air condition, the way we heat for cold weather, the way we water and recycle, the way we satisfy consumers' demands for water and for clean water and not using plastics. So a lot of behavioral changes have to come about, and therefore a lot of management teaching has to also then be in place.
From your experience doing this for almost 30 years, do you have a rough estimate of the return on investment, which is the sustainability investment impacting your business result or profit? How does that impact each other?
For a long time, I tried to look at the business case on sustainability and find that for every case I may argue that it helps you in your ROI, I will have another case that shows you that it costs more, but the return is not good enough.
Okay.
I go through this year on year when I try to push the Singapore Compact to a lot of the companies in Singapore. I was the charter president for UN Singapore Compact at that time. Everyone looked at me and said that, my God, this is not our business. This is not business. This is sustainability, corporate social responsibility. It's not business. Now the conversation is different. It is business.
It is.
You have to do that, right? But still, we are not sure how to do it. Because each domain has its own benchmark. How could you tell me my admissions benchmarking? I'm in a travel business. You're in a manufacturing. How do we harmonize that? How do we reach what we call the standards? So the only way now I can do is to say 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, post-COVID, pre-COVID and post-COVID, we look at the trend, how we behave. And I could only say 2023, minus 5% or minus 3%, improve at all scores and to move on with that. So bit by bit, we go on the low-hanging fruits in terms of individual behavior. We go on the infrastructural utilities by putting in the KPIs to say, benchmarking the KPIs, key performance indicators. You don't do it, don't get your bonus, or you don't get your incentives. Or if you do it better, you get your incentive, you get your reward. And then structurally, we learn from the scientific community and the technological community who is doing what and best advise us how to do better. So there's a need for shared information, of showing case studies of how a building is done in this manner, how a hotel is being done in this manner. I think for the 30 years, we have done low-hanging fruits, and we have not got into the level, I feel, structurally to become number one in terms of building it to fit the purpose. No, I think I dare not claim that we are there. I could only say, don't look at a business case. As I said, you get a whole host of companies will see, wow, this saved me this year. What I did saved me $80,000. Another one will say, no, I lost $20,000. Another one said, no, it helped me $200,000. So what is the case? take it as the first principle of doing a natural thing, a right thing. That's it.
Yep. You always emphasize in your principles not just embracing the environment, but also empowering people. So what do you mean by empowering people?
I feel that people lead from where they are. Whether you are the bellman or you are the GM or you are the corporate head or you are founder, we all have different roles to complete that picture of success. Me alone with my husband, as founders, do not create the success. It's the 10,000 workers who have been with us the last 30 years, some of them, that have contributed to building the brand. So empowering people to believe why they do what they do, for what purpose, that drives the journey. That for me was why we are successful. Not just us as founders, the way we brand, the way we go to the marketplace, the way we advertise. No. Those are stories that are created, yes, by what we delivered, giving our effort. But it is the people on the ground that you are sitting down eating, they are standing up serving you. They are the one taking your luggage at the concierge, bringing to your room. All these travelers' touch points that people deliver to you in service, these are the people that have made it possible. So empowering them is to help them feel that they have a value to the whole service chain. From the bellboy to the GM, we all contribute to creating the brand success.
And also, not just the shareholders, but the stakeholders, everyone getting involved.
So we try to localize. So where we develop, we will try to recruit from the local. And we recruit them either by apprenticeship, learn on the job for a short month to see whether they like it. Internship, they come like students. We have got internship from the universities around us for 12 months, and then they can be employed by us or employed elsewhere. We create also a flexible groupings of people in the community who are looking after children and working in a farm but would like to come in our peak hours to work on project time only the weekend or only on 4 hours. So the whole labor management now, post-COVID, is flexible, it's dynamic. We call it the dynamic manpower management. And that really empowers women who are looking after children, who are housewives, so-called, can now therefore become part of our talent. There will be people who are older, after 60, we don't let them dismiss them. They can continue to work an advisory role on projects. And then we use the local people to supply us the food, the local community to look at the way we build and looking at the building materials. So empowering is about community building. It's about building the ecosystem of stakeholders, knowing who does what that we can use, who offers the services that we could employ, and what we have that we can give to them. We bring guests to their restaurants, we bring guests to their tailor, etc. So this is building the community. And that for me is building the ecosystems, for me is one of the most satisfying experiences.
Sure. And
it grows the community.
Yeah. And you come to Vietnam this time also meeting with local artisans.
Yes.
Yeah.
We must have met about 30 to 35 different small enterprises, from basketry to lacquerware to embroiderer to the textile market, to understand how the craft in Vietnam can be reinterpreted for the new marketplace.
Yes.
So you do the out dye, in what form, in what colors, in what design. You do the basketry bags, what colors, what fabric. That's why I went to the textile market yesterday, you know. So I feel that there's so many resources in this country, but we need to reinterpret heritage and culture to align with modern demands. These millennials,
Yeah.
people like you all want different things. You want different colors. You want to look differently. We need to see how we can satisfy you when you come to visit our hotels. We have all those things in our galleries to also please your eyes and your smell through our spa products and through your look, what you wear,
Sure.
etc. Yeah.
So in this post-COVID time, what do you think is the direction going forward for your industry, the hotel, the tourism, the hospitality industry?
Discover, realign, and creating a diversity of products and services for the diversity of travelers that we're beginning to see. It's a rainbow generation. Yeah. Rainbow in a sense of ages, colors of people. Is no longer the privilege of a few. It's no longer so homogeneous a traveler's marketplace that we can only do one thing. So that's why we have got A to F brand, A to H brand to service different marketplaces and different styles and different service points, different galleries and spas, etc. So it's going to be, I think, diversity. Despite that, those differences, we still need to understand and align with core principles that we believe in. Sustainability is one of them. Localization, indigenization is one of them. Empowering stakeholders is one of them. Building community where we all thrive together is a definite one. Building an ecosystem. Because business thrive where societies thrive.
Going together, go far.
And in that journey, there will always be disappointments and failures. But remember this wise saying, success is never final. Failure is also never fatal. But you have to continually try and try. And that is a journey, and that journey is good enough. The producers sell it in the marketplace. Who do they go through? A broker. So the broker takes 60% and then they take maybe 40. So I said, why don't I skip the broker and go directly to the producer? You don't work for a salary. You work for a purpose. So choose the company that has leaders who are enlightened and purposeful.
True. I was fascinated when you were sharing your story at the other day at the event about our former Vice President Trương Mỹ Hoa.
Yes.
Madam Trương Mỹ Hoa, our former Vice President of Vietnam, and you said that you had a conversation with her and that's changed your career.
Yes.
Tell me more about that.
Yes.
How did it happen?
1992, I was invited by an organization to participate in Hanoi, a conference with the Handicraft Association of Vietnam, organized by the Women's Union.
30 years ago, 92.
That was when I met Madam Trương Mỹ Hoa. And I remembered it was a fascinating forum because it's a gathering of women. Half do not speak English at all, and the other do not speak Vietnamese at all. And in between, we have got an interpreter.
Okay.
And judging from the ASEAN Bridge translation, simultaneous translation that was going on there, 30 years ago, you already had that capability that I'm just absolutely so fascinated by. I had an interpreter, I had a car and driver, and I had people to take us round to where we needed to go to find our partners.
Okay.
So they already divided us to many different sectors, some for trade, some for craft, some for technology, etc. It was efficient. It was a what do you call that? Targeted. But in that conference with Mỹ Hoa, she was focusing on the rural sector. How to improve the rural sector to help women who are doing the craft work to get to the marketplace in order to enhance their production and volume. So in listening to that, I know women, we like shopping. And in talking to them, then I said, the producers sell it in the marketplace. Who do they go through? A broker. that took a lot more of the money
Yeah.
and give them less of. So the broker takes 60% and then they take maybe 40 or maybe even less. So I say, why don't I skip the broker and go directly to the producer? So therefore, I need to then know where those communities are, who the producers are, what to develop, what does the market want. Then I started to think in business, and I was in a university then. And I said, hey, this is when what I learned in sociology and development economics can now be applied on real ground to actually going directly to communities and give them $6 instead, and I take $4 without the middleman.
Right.
So that was a transformation in Hanoi, in this conference with Madam Mỹ Hoa, who exposed me to this possibility. And I went back and thought about it. And then I met a second woman in Singapore by the Shirin Forza that brought me 2 cushions to say that would bring one girl in a northern part of Thailand to school. And I realize now the importance of women's work, whether it is food or whether it is craft.
Yeah.
And then I say, okay, I shall start a business. And therefore I set up Banyan Tree Gallery.
Oh my God.
And
That's how it started.
That is how it all started. So Vietnam gave me a second life.
Oh my God.
Put it that way.
The gallery and the...
Sustainability. Because it is about sustainable communities.
Yeah.
It's about sustaining women's effort.
The craft
Sustaining
women.
women's work in the villages so that they do not need to move to the cities to work at factories or to get onto lousy jobs.
Yeah.
And it is our effort in supporting, defending their craft work to sustain the craft work. And that was the mission for Banyan Tree Gallery.
That's why you're now still doing that, talking to the craft women and the
We
people
have
in the
now
villages.
about more than 60 galleries, and we have supported more than 200 communities globally.
Yes.
And we continue to do this, especially now post-COVID. All the more. Every factory we go to, we try to do a small order to be a lifeline that they can start the production. So this time when we went to Thailand, to the northern part, every factory was closed. They opened the doors for us, and we're really now doing about the 3rd or 4th orders.
Oh man, oh my God. Started 30 years ago with that conversation in Vietnam.
And continues.
And continues
it continues.
today.
And the journey will continue. It's such a pleasure because the women I meet, and such resilience, courage, I benefited from them.
Sure.
How they live, work, play, raise a family, guard the family, build the community, and defend the nation. It's tremendous.
You're still now a pretty strong activist in gender equality and women power and empowering women. What is your sharing or advices for the women now wanting to getting ahead of their career and want to get work-life balance and get into leadership in their career?
With more than 60 million women in ASEAN who are women entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
We have the opportunity to review why we do what we do, for what purpose. So we each have to review our own life mission and ask, what can we do in our work that can enable the governments to set up policies or regulations that help women who are disadvantaged, especially those in the rural sector? What can we do more to resource them so that they can improve? So that is the policy and governance level. So women have to get into policies, to politics, etc. At the organizational level, we can ask, how do I as CEO work out a management infrastructure and a daily work agenda that enable women and men to be empowered to perform and yet balance home needs. So that whole management in the way we organize our companies to reflect this flexibility, that leadership empowerment, so that people will feel when they come to work, they are not exploited and they are not doing it without purpose. It's so important. And I tell women, you need to make the decision. You have to make the choice of companies and leaders who you feel can be your co-partners in life performance. You don't work for a salary. You work for a purpose. So choose the company that has leaders who are enlightened and purposeful in helping you reach your dream.
Sure.
If you go in just for the salary, and it's a good salary, and then you say with the salary you can do a lot of other things, that's one choice. But you will get burnt out. But if you look for a company and leaders that you feel that while you are working, you are living the purpose and you are there forever. So I have staff who are with me for 30 years. And they said, I don't feel that I'm working in one company. What you have given us is many job experiences in the same group.
Nice.
And I have the opportunity to learn different things at different times of my age, at different life stages of my life, when I was not married and I'm married and I have children, and I could travel and see the world. I feel that I have 10 to 15 jobs in the Banyan Tree group.
Yeah.
That was an amazing narrative. And it came up from one young director who's been with me for 21 years. Her first job. I picked her up at a university. I picked her up in a university graduation ceremony, and she shared a name card that maybe impressed me that she is artistic. And she's now still with me.
Wow, 21 years.
From a single woman, and now she's got 3 children.
What's the motivation from you? Very inspiring. So you just celebrate 25th anniversary of Banyan Tree. And so what's next for Banyan Tree in the next 25 years or going forwards?
I hope in 10 years' time, we will reach 100 hotels. We're now at 62. We're having 6 opening. We're having 6 more next year, and go on and on in all different continents. So hopefully that, by the time we hit 100, shall I retire? Maybe I shall be advisory. I will still go around each hotel, but I will not be able to go around the hotels. 12 months. If I go 4 weeks, one in each, I have for 48. It still will take me 2 years or more, no?
Travel in Vietnam more. Take more vacation in Vietnam.
Definitely. So, in fact, my next destination in Vietnam is Dalat. I heard so much about it.
Yeah.
And also next year, because it is Singapore-Vietnam's 50 years diplomatic relationship, we are celebrating that through the Singapore Book Council.
Nice.
We organize every year the ASEAN Festival for Children's Content, held in May. We are hoping this time when I'm here, I'm meeting up with the Association of Publishers and some writers and some publishers and printers to see whether or not we could create this partnership next year, to go to Singapore and hold this festival together to celebrate with Vietnamese cuisine and maybe with an Aldai fashion, but more important, with children's books written by Vietnamese in Vietnamese that we will translate to English.
Nice, wonderful. Can't wait to see more openings in Vietnam, Banyan Tree locations, and I'll definitely check it out. And you're taking the Mekong River tours soon?
Tomorrow. Finally,
okay.
My 30 years dream of sailing down the Mekong River. Tomorrow, I'm doing a short one to enjoy that romance of the river cruise. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing, and enjoy the tour.
Thank you so much.
I hope to see you next time.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. And that's the story of Miss Claire Chiang, the co-founder of Banyan Tree Hotels and Resorts, with the topic of sustainability. I hope you enjoy the conversations and learn some new things. Thank you so much for supporting us. And please give us a subscription or follow us on different podcast platforms. I'll see you next time.